Welcome back to the Rare Book Views channel, where I take some time and talk about how obsessed I am about books. If you love books or reading or collecting or libraries or bookstores or the smell of books, I would love to hear from you about what you're reading or collecting, and if you would do me a favor and subscribe or drop me a comment, that'd be great. I really appreciate everyone who has done that. It's so much fun to hear from new people and other people who love books, and this corner of the internet where people are kind and bookish is really fun. Today, I wanted to show you some of my books, some of my favorite books about books. There's really a ton of them, but I have a few that I really love, so I thought I would show you in order of most educational, most, I don't want to say most challenging, most meaty of the books, maybe, to the easiest. So maybe from the most nutritious to the dessert. I'm going to start with The Man Who Loved Books Too Much. This is very serious business. This is a guy who stole books, which I think is a great costume. We should all know about these people, right? We should erect some kind of monument to shame them or something. This is a really good one. I really enjoyed this, by Allison Hoover Bartlett. This is a really good one. It's a very interesting story, and I like that she tells a little bit about her introduction to the world of rare and valuable books, and how she explored on her own trying to understand the appeal. This was a new world to her, and I thought it was really interesting how she got into the context of what this dastardly person was doing with books. There's another book I don't have a copy right now. I think I must have loaned it to someone. There's one called The Island of Lost Maps, which is a different bad actor, terrible person, but and it's a really sad story, but is more about maps in rare books, which is something that I don't collect and I don't know a ton about, but the book is really fascinating. It's very well written, and it's also just really interesting to know about rare books and a little bit how fragile the ones that are available to us in libraries are. So that one is another really good one on this topic if you find it too stressful. And then I have a couple books by a couple, Lawrence and Nancy Goldstone. I have Used and Rare and Slightly Chipped. These are memoirs, and they are so much fun. This is a couple who decides as a hobby to get into rare book collecting, and it is from a time maybe a little bit more in the early age of internet book shopping. So it's really more about traveling around and finding new used bookstores and getting into what kinds of books should we invest in, what would we love, what should we have a special copy of. It's really good personal stories of characters that they run across in their book adventures. That is something that I personally love. I love meeting other book collectors. I love meeting people in line at a used book sale and hearing what they're collecting or what they're looking for. And these books are along those same lines. The characters, the people in this world, and what they're looking for and why. Really, really good. These, I should say, all of these are trade paperbacks. I got them all, I think, at used bookstores or charity shops, that kind of thing. So I only paid maybe a couple dollars for each of these. You can get them, they're widely available. The Man Who Loved Books Too Much, maybe it's slightly harder to get from a library. The Island of Lost Maps was a really big seller in numbers, so it's pretty easy to get a copy from a library or a used bookstore or Amazon, or anywhere online, or a local bookseller. Maybe go to an independent bookstore where you're going to buy your books about books. I am ready with my Ray Bradbury cover t-shirt, and I do have a copy of Fahrenheit 451. This is vintage. This one is tougher to get in a vintage copy, and I love a vintage copy, as you can see. So this one I actually did get a used book sale. I think I paid $2 for it. It is ex libris, and I normally do not love something with the stamps or the stickers on it from the library, but this one, it seems like it should be. It seems very appropriate. It does have a lot of it's got a lot of markings. I'm just gonna look up. This one is published by Simon & Schuster, and the copyright date is, the one listed is 1953. So this is a vintage copy. It's not the original. This is the original dust jacket. This one is later. It's still pretty early, so I really like this one. I think you might be able to get this for in the 25 to 50 range, maybe. The original ones really are a serious investment. This is a book that a lot of people love and remember. Also, It's banned in places, which is so ironical that we're banning a book about banning books. But there you have it. I remember this one. I have one of those great, very vivid memories that in high school we read this book. We read a lot of books. Animal Farm, the Lord of the Flies, a lot of these really question society books. I don't know what's going on in my high school. This one I remember very distinctly. Like I remember really getting it, that if there was a difference in the way we governed, that society would be so different. So the availability of books, I'm passionate about that, obviously, and this book is a big part of that, I think, when I kind of realizing that that isn't true for everyone in the whole world, and it isn't something that is for sure. So this book is really meaningful to me, so I love having this vintage copy. I think it's cool that it's a library book, and it's a good reminder to read some banned things. And it's an easy read. This one also, I did forget to mention, it has another short story in it, because Ray Bradbury did that. Okay, Helene Hanff. If you've not seen the movie 84 Charing Crossroad, just go down. I'll be here when you get back. It's so great. Oh, it's beautiful. Anthony Hopkins. Oh, so good. Very enjoyable, easy to watch. The book also a very easy read. And it is a book about books, and it is set during World War II. A woman in New York is looking for some used books, aren't we all? And she writes off to a bookstore in England, and they're still kind of under rationing, and it's still, life is rough in England, and so she gets to know the booksellers and the people working in the bookstore, and she comes back to them with more books that she wants, like a nice copy, a nice hard copy, a nice copy that might be vintage or have a little bit of history or be the specific thing she's looking for. And it's a beautiful story of friendship and books. She wrote 2 more books that I know of, that I have. The Duchess of Bloomsbury Street. This one is sort of a sequel. It's just more of the story. And this one, Underfoot in Show Business. This I got at an auction with a shelf of books. So I didn't really know I was getting it. There were other things in the lot that was being auctioned that I was really bidding on. And then this was a bonus. And I thought, I have never even heard of this. I have never seen it in book form before or since. So I only paid a couple dollars maybe for these. To get a nice hard copy is actually kind of harder these days. I used to see them occasionally, and I haven't seen one in quite a while. You can buy 84 Charing Cross online for maybe somewhere in probably the $10 to $25 range. I don't think it would be too competitive. This one is a 4th printing and is 1970. So we're getting on 55, so legit vintage book. It says right here the printing for reference if you're looking for an early one. And the other ones are probably the same, maybe $10. Though the Underfoot in Show Business, since I've never seen it, I don't really know how much it's worth. I don't really know if this is rare or if it's particularly valuable, but I haven't seen it very often. You can obviously get a new copy or get an e-copy if you just want to read them, and this is a very easy read, and it is so much fun. Fair warning, it might make you cry. Okay, this Inkspell. This is a series, and it is by a woman whose name might be Cornella Funke. I don't believe English was the original language for this book, which makes it really fun. It's set in a sort of quasi-Mediterranean setting, which might be any country, sort of. And I can't even explain. It's a book binder or book repairer is one of the main characters, and so books are a constant recurring thing in the plot and in the plot points that move it forward. The characters are all very interested in books. It's very bookish. This is a good sizable book. If you want to get lost in a book and you want to keep reading it for a while, this is a great one. And it is a trilogy, so there's more. Wonderful. And this is super fast, easy read. It's a little bit on the young adult side of the spectrum, so it's really made for younger readers to have no problem just diving in and devouring this thing. So if you want something kind of light and easy to read, I think it'd be a good vacation read maybe. These were huge bestsellers, so it is very easy to find a used copy of this book. Just go to your local used bookstore that is independently owned and pick one up. That's how I would do it. So these are just some of my very favorite books about books. If you have a suggestion, please tell me. I love to read a book about books. If you have a really good book about book collecting, I am here for it. Let me know. And I really appreciate, like I said, thank you for watching and for saying these things about my book collecting habit, because it makes me feel like it's probably okay that I spend this much time on books. So thank you very much, and happy reading.